Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about quadratic and cubic sequences. And what you're going to need is you're going to need your graphing calculator. So let me go ahead and encourage you to do that before you go any further. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and get started. Create an equation for the sequence. We have 3, 11, 23, 39, 59, 83. You can read it. Now, the first thing you need to figure out is, okay, is this an arithmetic sequence or is this a geometric sequence? Meaning, if it's an arithmetic sequence, am I adding something consistently throughout each term to get to the next term? And the answer is no. 3 to 11 is 8, and then 11 to 23 is 12. All right, that's already gone. Okay, am I multiplying something consistently to get to the next number? 3 to 11, that would be like 3 point something, and then 11 times 2. No, okay, that's not going to work either. So what is it going to be? So that means it's either going to be a quadratic equation or it's going to be a cubic equation. Now, in order to determine whether or not it's a quadratic or cubic equation, what you do is you start finding the differences between each of the terms. Like the difference between 3 and 11 is 8. The difference between 11 and 23 is 12. This right here is 16. This is 20. And this is 24. And what you're going to do is you are going to continue to find the differences until you get a common difference. So like 8 and 12, the difference is 4. 12 and 16, the answer is 4. 16 and 20, the answer 4, and then 4. Notice that this is the common difference. Okay. Now the next thing we need to observe is how many times did we have to find the common difference? And the answer was 2, because this level, or this first term, didn't give us the first try we attempted it did not give us the common difference, yet this one did. And so this moves us into our next slide, which is this is going to be a quadratic equation. Okay? Now, the steps of a quadratic equation are as follows. And so what I'm going to do is basically just show you the steps, and then from here you're pretty much going to have to use your graphing calculator. So step 1 is find the difference for each term, and that's what we did. We went down to quadratic, so we went to the second level, it would be quadratic. So this is going to be all your calculator stuff. Go to stat in your TI 83, 84, 84 plus calculator, hit edit. Into L1, it should be all cleared out, so you should put, and I wrote everything right here. In L1, in this first column, is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then in L2 would actually be the entire sequence, 3, 11, 23, 20. Please remember that the same amount of numbers in L1 and L2 have to be the same. So you can't go L1, you can't go to 7 and expect it to work out. Okay, so enter in L1 the first term. Now remember, you have to have an L1 and L2. If you don't have an L1 and L2 in your calculator, you're probably going to have to reset it and get that working again. So you go to stat, go to calculate, and then go to quadratic regression. Okay, because you're telling the calculator that is a quadratic equation, so it needs to be set as a quadratic. Once you hit quadratic equation, press enter, and then on your main screen it should look like this. It should look like this right here. Okay. Now what's happening is this right here is kind of like your little default equation. Okay. And then the A, B, and C, this is what you're actually going to substitute in for your equation. And so let me kind of erase some of this just so you can see a little better. Okay, there we are. All right, so this right here will go in for A, this right here will go in for B, and this right here is going for C. And when you take all this, you look, there's your answer. Okay. Now the last thing we're going to do is, since we don't really deal with x's, we deal with n's, we're going to change up the equation from this right here to this right here. Okay. And so from here you have your equation, and then from here you can figure out anything you want to figure out. Like for example, let's say if I wanted to figure out what would be my 10th term of this particular equation. Well, I would take a 10 and I would plug it in for everywhere I see n. Plug in there, and so my answer would be 219. There's my answer. Pretty simple. All right, let's try another one. Create an equation for the sequence. Once again, you have to go through your steps. Okay, am I adding something consistently? No, I'm not. Am I multiplying something consistently. No, I'm not. So that means I'm going to have to start finding the differences. So like 13 and 56, I believe that's 43. And so I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead and show you. There it is. Okay, so when you look ahead, if you notice, you now go to your third level. And your third level of differences is going to be your cubic level, which means it's going to be a cubic function. So once again, you're going to follow the same steps as you did in the last quadratic equation. And so you're going to go to stat once again, and then you're going to go to edit. In L1, you put in all your ends 1 through 6, and then L2 you put each term of your sequence. Then go to stat, and then go to calculate. I forgot to put that in here. Go to stat, then go to calculate, and then go to cubic regression. After cubic regression, hit enter, and then your equation will be this. Now, of course, I skipped a step. This is what your final answer would be. In your calculator, it should look like this, where you have ax to the third power, bx squared, and cx. And so if we were just going to kind of continue this, a would have equaled 9. So, of course, you would plug 9 into the equation. Pretty simple. B would have equaled -10. So that's why you're plugging that in for B. C would also be -10, and so you plug that in for C. And then lastly, D was 4. So you plug that in there. There you go. And so from here, you're going to take all of this, you're going to plug it into the equation like this. And remember to take your ends and replace it, or take your x's, replace it for ends. And so once again, from here, you make your observations. Like if I wanted to find the 10th term, you plug in a 10 everywhere you see an x, you're good to go. So that's pretty much it. That's quadratic and cubic regression. If you have any issues, please let me know. Thank you very much.